Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Welcome back to Primetime Local News. Abby and myself back for another hour or two of news, weather, sports, and more. Speaking of sports, it was packed with kids in the Civic Center this morning.
Yes, Hockey Hooky Day took place for the third year in a row. Students all across LPSD went out and enjoyed a nice hockey game for the afternoon instead of going to school.
I know as a kid I would have loved that, but unfortunately that was never my fate. So congratulations to all those kids who had that afternoon. Let's go out to Eric Bay, who is on location today.
Thanks, guys. Today we are here at Rolling Green, and we are going to be taking a look at the 100+ women who care here in Lloydminster. They're going to be holding one of their 3 meetings in 2019 right here on Wednesday, and we're going to be checking out the group themselves, kind of what they do provide here in the community, how it all works, and if you want to get involved, whether that be just yourself or as a corporation as well, they do need your help to help other organizations here around the city of Lloydminster. But before we do get to all that, we're going to take it back into the studio and have a look at your local news.
With last night's debate, the leaders of the federal parties shared their thoughts on many issues and took jabs at each other throughout the night, leaving a lot of voters feeling unsatisfied. Even after they watched, they still feel undecided with who they will vote for. Our Jasmine King has more on local residents' thoughts on the debate.
The debate had highs and lows. As the leaders brought forward their thoughts and plans to certain issues, they also went back and forth throughout the debate, more specifically leaders Justin Trudeau and Andrew Scheer.
Tell me, when did you decide that the rules don't apply to you?
Work for Canadians is around investing in them, unlike the vision that you're putting forward.
What we have here is Mr. Trudeau and Mr. Scheer arguing about who's worse for Canada. Really, we got to start arguing. We got to start presenting who's going to be best for Canada.
We have the right in this country to debate ideas, and that's what I'm doing.
Immigrants? Voting for Green MPs is your very best guarantee.
Last night's debate had a lot of mixed reviews and leaving some voters still undecided, so we headed down to the Lloyd Mall to see what Border City residents' thoughts were on the debate.
Well, it was a mess last night. Like, they were talking over each other. Most of the time you couldn't understand what they were saying because they were both talking at the same time. So
I think it was essential. I think they have to be listened to.
There was some sheer entertainment, literally, and I think he may have swayed some of the votes in Toronto, or Ontario, which is going to be the battlegrounds, and I think that's the most important part of it.
I just turned the channel after an hour.
Nonsense from what I gather. The last thing we need are 2 politicians behaving like young kids.
After talking to Lloydminster residents, the ones that were undecided before watching the debate say they still are on the fence with their decision as they didn't get a lot of information on what the leaders will be doing for Canadians. Jasmine King, Primetime Local News.
With the election under a month away, the NDP are putting a foot in the door for the Battleford side. Marcella Peterson has announced her running for MP with the NDPs. Peterson wants to run for the middleman, and she also wants to take actions against racism and addiction.
When there's been a minority government with the NDP, with the balance of power, we brought in old age security, Canada Pension Plan, Medicare, and family allowance.
Peterson felt that her voice wasn't represented with other parties. Taking on the NDP mantle, she will petition anywhere, even if she gets in trouble.
I even had someone complain about me campaigning at a trade show because the other candidates weren't there. And I thought, hey, this is a democracy. It's a public event. They could have been here just as well as I am.
Peterson wants to take these next few weeks to try to get her voice out in the community. The City of Lloydminster is looking to replace the current council earnings policy and approve the updated policy. This comes after recent changes to the Income Tax Act that eliminated 1/3 tax-free allowance to municipal politicians. The mayor and council's earnings will be based on percentages of established municipal salaries in both provinces. It also includes a half-day per diem of $100 for councillors.
It will depend on, based on the factors that they used, was the Government of Saskatchewan and the Government of Alberta Provincial Cabinet salaries is what the basis was, to take an average and then a percentage of that for the mayor and a percentage of the councillors from the mayor. And there's always been a percentage from the mayor to the councillors, but how did we arrive at the mayor's salary?
Mayor Albers stressed that administration is working with local community members in the development of the policy and that it wouldn't go into effect until after the election results next year.
We're not affecting our pay today and setting it. We asked a committee of 3 local business people that worked with administration, that was arranged through administration, to put together the information, review it, and that's what has happened.
Council's decision is scheduled for October 28th. For more information on the policy, you can go to the agenda for this week's meeting on the city's website. Students within LPSD attended the 3rd annual Bobcats Hockey Hooky Day, and we were there to take in the action. 1,500 students and teachers filled the Civic Center this afternoon to watch the Bobcats play the Drumheller Dragons for Hockey Hooky Day, which is something the students get excited for every year.
Every single time that we make the first announcement that Hockey Hooky Day is coming up, you can just feel the excitement build in the school. They're so excited to get here, and I mean, not very often do you have the opportunity to go with your whole school to do something that, you know, is not sitting down doing math, not learning, not in the classroom, and that creates a little bit of buzz for sure. And the fact that we're willing to continue to do this just goes to show how good a partnership we have with our Junior A club.
This day means a lot to the kids, and for the teachers, it's fun for them to see the kids get loud.
Some of these kids get to come to a lot of hockey games and they're familiar with it and they're excited, but some kids don't get to come to these events, and the partnership with the Bobcats and LPSD and having this opportunity allows some kids that wouldn't be in this building normally to be here and experience what goes on during the Junior A hockey game.
For the kids, it means getting out of sitting in a classroom.
It's really fun. I get to come out, miss a bit of school, and come visit with all my friends. Not often do you get to miss school and come to a hockey game. It's fun. I'm glad we do this every year because it's different than just learning.
This game also means a lot to the Bobcats as they spend a lot of time getting out into the community.
It creates definitely an energy in the rink, and it bounces off the walls, so it's pretty cool for them. And you know, we spend a lot of time in the school, so it's a different way for our guys to play in front of these students that they usually read to or join in the phys ed classes.
The final score of the game was 6-1 for the Dragons. Now we're going to Eric Bay, who was on location today.
Once again, we are back here today at Rolling Green, and today we are taking a look at the 100+ women who care here in Lloydminster. And now Janice Hoyen joins me now, and you are one of the co-founders here. So first off, can you tell us about why you kind of want to bring this here to the Lloydminster?
Well, I actually was inspired by my son, Jordy. He was really looking to do something more for the community and for the world. And so he was the one who thought, what can we do for the world? And so I talked to him about a friend of mine who had started 100 Kids Who Care in Calgary, and he thought that sounded amazing. But we wanted to get more community people involved, and we wanted to get more moms and more teachers and more grandmas involved so that they could get their kids involved. And so that's when I reached out to my cousin Sherry and talked about it, and she said, let's start one up. Let's start 100 Women Who Care in Lloydminster. And so together, her and I, we started this movement. We brought on some incredible women who have really helped us make it as successful as it's been, and we're just honored to be a part of it.
And then now, just really quick here, just want to give maybe a little background as to what you guys actually do here in the community.
Well, we bring a group of women together. We all commit to donating $100 3 times a year. And at our events, we bring in 3 local nonprofit organizations, and the women get a chance to vote on who they think deserves our total donation. And once the person who receives the most nominations, then gets our total donation.
All right, thank you for this, and we're going to have some more from back here once again at Rolling Green, where they will be hosting their 100+ Women Who Care event on Wednesday. But before we do get to all that, we're going to head back into the studio.
Thank you very much, eBay. -1 the current temperature, so yes, we're right into our wintry season, despite just being in early October at this point in Lloydminster. Fairly cloudy skies should continue through the rest of the week. 26 and -9 are your records from 84 and 2009, 17 kilometers the current wind speed. A little bit calmer than it was certainly late last night and earlier this morning. We could see some stronger gusts, though, in the 25 to 30 kilometer range over the rest of the evening. As you can see here, more chances of snow in Vegreville. Some of that low pressure system making its way past Edmonton, most of which should miss our region. Although if you go to the other side of the map, there is a chance that areas east of North Battleford could be hit in the next couple of hours. A few other current temperatures here. Cold Lake at 0, Meadow Lake -1, North Battleford at 0 degrees, as well as in Provost. Mirnam still holding out at +1, and Saskatoon as well at +1. They should start to drop, though, in the coming days. Edmonton also sitting at 0 degrees. Now it should be -6 by 8 a.m. tomorrow. Students will have -4 by recess, -1 by lunchtime, and at least a little bit of sunlight in the morning. But by the time school is out, the sun will be gone, and it'll only get up to +1 for the day's high. And that is, of course, the Wednesday high, along with a low of -7, +5 on Thursday with some sunlight, -8 as well. And it should be very sunny on Friday, 7 degrees, a low of -7, and some minor winds out of the south. That's been your 3-day forecast, a little cooler than average for this time of the year. We'll have your 7-day and more coming up on Primetime Local News.
Welcome back. Well, the manager of the Keystone Potato Producers Association in Manitoba says there's a good crop, but the weather needs to cooperate so farmers can harvest it. Dan Sawatsky says before last Friday, a little less than 50% of the potato crop had been harvested. Normally, farmers like to have the harvest completed by the start of October. He says it was rough at the start of the harvest due to the heat because farmers couldn't put potatoes in their sheds. Sawatsky says it's not unheard of for people to be digging up to the Thanksgiving weekend, but the longer the harvest drags out after October 1st, the more risk of frost. And now we're going to take a look at your egg prices.
We're a part of less than 5% of Canadian auto body shops and Lloydminster's only locations with certified collision care recognition at City Centre Auto Body.
Emerging from the Lloydminster minor hockey community is a family playing ahead of their time. Irvin Kenny reports in this week's Beyond the Boards.
The past, the present, the future. All three have gone through Lloydminster's minor hockey program. Javen, currently on the Bobcats, is one of the few 16-year-olds playing in the AJHL.
It's really cool, you know, being able to play against all the older guys. It's huge in my development, and it's awesome to know that Nigel has trusted me to play against these older guys.
The young Bobcat isn't the only one who's playing as a young gun in their respective league. The oldest, Jansen, plays for Red Deer College in the ACAC after spending time in the WHL. Last season, Leslie played as a 19-year-old in the league instead of finishing his time in junior. The youngest brother, Mazden, is also playing ahead of his age. The youngest Leslie played his first midget AAA game on Saturday as a 14-year-old.
Just help with my development, be better against better players.
It's just our parents instilled the hard work into us. You know, even with my sister, all of us know that nothing's going to come easy, and hard work is the way to advance in life.
Javen has played in 15 career Junior A games with the Bobcats And according to head coach Nigel Dubé,
he's made great strides. When you go against 18 to 20-year-olds on most nights when we're playing, and just his daily habits of what he's done in practice and his growth there, and the future's really bright for him.
While Jansen might be too old for the AJHL, the younger two are helping set a solid base for the future of Lloydminster.
Yeah, we're a very young team, so we may not be at the top of the league right now, but in the coming years, we're going to be young, and we're going to be ready to play, and we're going to be ready to fight for a league championship. So there's lots of time. We got to be patient, but it's going to come.
That is, if Mazden decides to take the AJHL route. Last season, the young D-man scored 50 points and won Defenseman of the Year in the Alberta Major Bantam Hockey League. Already this year, Leslie has a goal in his first game and is currently rated 3rd by DraftGeek for the 2020 WHL Draft.
I don't really know yet. Haven't really decided anything yet.
For the time being, Javen can do his best to help the Bobcats find their second win of the season. Evan Kenny, Primetime Local Sports.
Beyond the Boards is brought to you by City Center Auto Body. For over 35 years, City Center Auto Body has been your go-to auto body shop.
Now we're going to Eric Bay, who is on location today.
Once again, we are back here today at Rolling Green, and today we have been talking about the 100+ women who care, as they will be holding their event here on Wednesday. And now Sherry Stevens joins me. So first off, can you give us, I guess, a little background as to what you guys are going to be doing here on Wednesday?
We're going to be holding our 6th event in the Lloydminster area. We will be giving to one charity out of 3 charities who will be presenting to us on that night. So three charities come and speak to us. They're all locally based charities. We vote on those charities, and we will be giving all of our dollars to the one that is awarded.
Obviously a great cause. And now if people do want to get involved, whether that be joining the group or just to check it out, how can they do so?
They can just come on out here. We start our event at 7 o'clock on Wednesday evening. Everybody is welcome. I want to invite the whole community to come on out and check us out and see what we're all about. So there is no obligation to join. But if you do want to join, we will have registration forms available at the event. And the actual rules for joining are that you give $100 3 times per year. And after that is over, then you can re-register if you would like to.
All right, and now just really quick here, I guess you mentioned your 6th event here, so what has the past response been like from the community here?
Oh, it's been super. We've been able to not only give to the charities that we've been involved with, I guess are the ones that have been awarded, but also our membership have been able to find out a lot more about the other charities that have presented and have been able to help them out in other ways as well. So it's been super. I don't know if you know of the charities that have been awarded, but Inclusion Lloydminster, Border City Connects, Residents in Recovery, as well as the Lloydminster Sexual Assault Center and Snowflake House Respite Foundation.
All right, thank you for this, and we are going to have some more from back here again at Rolling Green, continuing to speak about the 100+ women who care, as they will be holding their event here this Wednesday. But before that, we're going to head back into the studio.
Thanks very much, eBay. Your next 24 hours here, some clearing, but mostly cloudy skies coming up in the next 24 hours and maybe a little bit after that as well. Some clear periods earlier in the morning, but again, expected to be relatively cloudy throughout the afternoon and the evening, though certainly not as cloudy as southern Alberta, where they have a low pressure system wreaking a little bit of havoc in the area. You can see here again, next 24 hours, some clear skies overnight, but things will start to get cloudy again when you head into the afternoon tomorrow. Wind chill also affected because of some of these strong winds in the 20-kilometer gusting range. That means that the temperature will feel a few degrees cooler. So if we're sitting at +1, it's really feeling like -2, -3, maybe worse. When it gets into the minuses, you'll really start to feel it. Current temperatures through the region, there's not a lot of variation here. +1 in Bonnyville and St. Paul, 0 in Lac La Biche, Vegreville, and Edmonton. Wainwright, -1, same in Macklin. Also on the Sask side, +2 in Green Lake and Isla Cross, 0 in Meadow Lake, -1 in St. Walburg, +1 in Maidstone, and it is dead even in North Battleford. There's some strong winds in that region coming out of the northwest rather. That'll switch over to the northwest overnight and calm down a little bit to 13 kilometers. A low of -6 expected there, with a high of 3 tomorrow. Maybe a few moments of sunlight, but again, should be largely cloudy skies. Cold Lake at 0 degrees, dropping down to -5 overnight. Relatively clear skies and maybe some sun, but mostly clouds tomorrow, with a high of +2. Wind basically staying right out of the west-northwest throughout the next 24 hours. And in the border cities, sitting at -1, dropping to -7, and then back up to +1 for the high tomorrow. Again, the wind relatively steady out of the northwest in the 15-kilometer range. Again, there could be a few gusts that get into the 20 to 25 range, but we're expecting in the mid-tweens throughout most of the day. And your 7-day forecast, +5 on Thursday. Now it looks like there may be a chance of some more sunlight. We could get some cloudy periods though still as well as the wind shifts to the southwest. -8 for the low, 7 on Friday where we should see some sun. The same on Saturday where it warms up to +9. Then 5 on Sunday, 6 Monday, and 6 once again on Tuesday. A mix of sun and cloud at the end of the week there. And all of the lows a little cooler than the seasonal average. -6 on both Saturday, Sunday, -3 Monday, and -4 on Tuesday. The wind will stay largely out of the south throughout the weekend, switching back to the north by Monday. And through all this, we're not expecting the 30-kilometer gusts that we saw last night. Instead, this should be relatively minor and calm, all things considered, though that'll still add on to the wind chill for this time of the year. That's been your 7-day forecast. We'll have question of the day and more coming up after the break.
Prime-time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Welcome back. Well, the struggling Toronto Argonauts have recruited one of the biggest names in CFL history to help them turn the ship around. Former star running back Mike Pinball Clemens is taking over as GM.
I think our goal here is to build bridges, not fences. And so as we go here, we are looking to try to build a culture first.
The fan favorite is a former Argos CEO and coached the team to a Grey Cup in 2004. The Argos have won only 2 games this season and are dead last in the standings. They are also last in attendance. Now we're going to Eric Bay, who is on location today.
Once again, we are back here today at Rolling Green, and we have been taking a look at the 100-plus women who care as they are holding their event here this Wednesday. But now we're going to shift over to the 100 Youth Who Care, and Jordy Hoyen joins me now. And so first off, you did help found it here in Lloydminster. So can you talk about what made you want to get involved and bring it to this city?
Well, when I was younger, I always wanted to do more for the community because I felt like I wasn't doing enough. So I thought, why not start up something like the 100 Women's? So we started up the 100 Youth. And it's doing pretty good so far.
That's good to hear. Now you guys have held a couple events, raised some money for a couple different charities. Can you talk about those charities?
Yeah, so the first winner was the SPCA, and they used the money to buy more food for the animals they were holding. And the second one was Project Sunrise, which helps to end the stigma for mental health.
And now you guys are obviously doing fairly well, you mentioned. So can you talk about how people, kids I guess in general, can get involved here with this organization?
Well, our next event is on the 23rd, and if anybody wants to come and join, they can head over to the Lakeland College, and you go to the cafeteria, and then they hand in their $10, and they sign up at the registration area. And then they get the chance to vote for a nonprofit organization that means something to them.
All right, thank you for doing this, and we're going to have some more from back here again, talking the 100-plus women who care as they're holding their event here, as we mentioned, at Rolling Green this Wednesday, continuing the good work that they do in the community, and we will again have some more as to how you can join, sign up, or just check it out for yourself. But before we do get to all that, we are going to head back into the studio.
Well, most of the talk since last night has been about the debate. National television, 6 leaders, unfortunately most of them talking over each other through most of the debate. That's what a lot of our commenters mentioned with our question of the day. Did the debate sway your vote, and if so, how did it sway your vote? Many people commenting it did. Some of the platforms that various candidates had gave them a little more detail on things they didn't know before, so that swayed them. Not really offering who it swayed them to. Many others were very firm in saying, no, it didn't sway my vote whatsoever, and most of those voters are ultimately voting Conservative.
I feel like watching it, if you went in watching it undecided, I have a feeling that you left being undecided, or maybe a little bit less undecided, but definitely still, I didn't really see or hear much that would sway my opinion to elsewhere. Like you said, a lot of talking over each other, so it was very hard to understand. Sometimes one leader wouldn't let another leader get in really anything, and so that was kind of frustrating because I wanted to hear what they had to say. So it definitely didn't leave me satisfied.
And you're certainly not alone in that regard. A number of people also saying that the format itself just didn't seem consistent. A number of times where a candidate thought they had more time and then the moderator cut them off early.
Yeah, exactly. The timing was a little skewed. There just wasn't enough structure, I don't think.
Yeah, and that's something I'm sure that when they go into the next French debate, which is later this week, that they'll try to fix some of those problems if they can, or perhaps they won't. We'll have to wait and see that later this week. For now, though, let's head into a very consistent structure, which is our Pet of the Day segment, and we'll start with Gizmo.
Just adorable, fluffy dog, and I love the name.
Next up here, Judge.
Super gorgeous dog, obviously enjoying a nice day outside, super adorable.
And Kevin, who looks like a indoor winter cat.
Yes, I love the name. A gorgeous cat, gorgeous green eyes, super adorable.
And Sophie, who seems to have a bit of nighttime eyes going.
Yeah, I love her fur and the way her hair is sitting on her face, super adorable.
And we'll end with Mr. Ed Sheeran, or just Sheeran.
Gorgeous cat, love how the picture is framed with the paws super extended, I love that.
And remember, you need the name and the pic to get a free gift card from PetPat.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
I'm proud today to be joined by Jimmy Rankin. Jimmy is in town tonight. Gold Horse Casino, welcome back to Lloydminster.
Great to be here.
Well, we might as well get into this right now. Let's talk about, you've been gracious enough to give us a CD here, Moving East.
Oh, no, I just loaned that
Oh,
to
you just, oh, I was going to give it back. Okay.
No, that's yours for you.
Tell me a little bit about the CD.
It's my latest. It's called Moving East, and I recorded it in Nova Scotia, first full-length album I've ever done on the East Coast, and it features all East Coast musicians, and they're all songs that are based out of that part of the world from Route 19, which is where I'm from in Cape Breton. And it's a coming home record. I was living in Nashville for about close to 8 years, and I came home and I made this record. So it's a very organic East Coast folk rock record.
Is it good to be back home after being in Nashville? That's quite a change.
Yeah, it's really great to be home. It's great to be back in Canada. I lived there for 8 years in Nashville. I love living there. It's a great music mecca. It's a great place to live. I've been going there for many, many years.
Yeah.
And but coming home, I've always maintained a place in Canada, in Nova Scotia, where I'm from, and so it's great to be back. Yeah, I love it. You know, I'm a Canadian.
At heart, of course, always.
Always.
Now, let's talk about the tour, and obviously the name of the tour is named Now I Know After Where You Live.
Songs from Route 19.
Yeah, so tell me about when people come out to your shows, Jimmy, are they hearing a mix of some of the Rankin family classics and then your new stuff, or what's the show like?
Well, first of all, it's myself and my guitar player, who's a multi-instrumentalist, and I've been working with this guy for many years, Jamie Robinson. And he sings background vocals, and so it's a duo. And I sing songs from this record, and I sing songs from my other solo records, and then I sing some Rankin family classics. So it's a roller coaster ride.
Do you find that it's awesome when you go out and you see people singing along with the music and just having such a good time? Because every time I hear the name Jimmy Rankin, people just, they light up and they talk about how they love coming out. They love the experience. It's just a great, a party atmosphere for the most part, right? So what's it like to see people singing the songs and the classics and of all ages, really, that come out to these shows?
Yeah, it really energizes me when I step out onto the stage, whether I'm tired or not, and I'll step out onto the stage and people know my music. And for 30 years I've been traveling across this country from the times that go back with the Rankin family, and then my solo career, which is going on to 20 years. So people know my Rankin family days, and they know those songs from those days, these songs that were on those on the radio, and they know those records. And a lot of them were kids then. Their parents played them early Rankin family records. And so some of those people have children, and they're all coming out to my shows. And now my solo career, it's the same thing. People played my solo records for their kids. So I have a very multi-generational audience, and it's very rewarding for me when I come out and people know me, and they are, they have come out they've paid good money, and they come out to hear me, and so I try to give them 150%.
Tell me a little bit about touring. Do you enjoy, some of it is kind of grueling, obviously,
yeah.
But in the end, do you like to tour for a good part of the year if you can, or do you try and just block it off whenever you kind of feel like you're up to it, or how do you decide on the touring?
Well, usually I'll release a CD. It's pretty standard to release a CD, and you promote it on radio and paper and social media, and then you go across the country and you play as many places as you can get to in a couple of months, 6 weeks. I'm out on this run for 6 weeks. So it's a big country. There's a lot of space to cover. So I went out with this record last fall, and I did 6 weeks across the country, pretty much from coast to coast. I didn't get to Newfoundland this time around, but so there are a lot of places I missed, so I'm back doing another 6 weeks. I started out in Ontario, and then I'll go to the West Coast and come back to Saskatchewan, do some more dates, and then land on the East Coast, and I'll take a little bit of time off and do some Christmas dates on the East Coast.
Right.
But it's grueling. Yeah, it's I was telling you before you started interviewing that some days you're doing 6, 7 hour drives, and you try not to do those too often.
Right.
And then do a sound check and a show and try to eat, and it really hasn't changed much. But before you do a tour, you try to set up your routing that it's somewhat sane. But it's a big country.
Right. It just can't happen all the time.
It just, sometimes it's just impossible to have routes that, where you are not driving 5, 6 hours, 7 hours to get to a show.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy, we appreciate you joining us today. Our time is up, unfortunately, but good luck tonight at the casino at the Gold Horse. I know you're going to enjoy it. The crowd is excited to see you.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for stopping by.
I'm very excited to be here, and thank you for talking with me.
Thank you.
I'll see you again.
I'm Justin with Boom 101.9 and 93.7 Win FM, and here's what's happening. The 2019 Father-Daughter Gala is going down Thursday, November 28th. 5:30 registration, 6 o'clock dinner, and a dance to follow. It's happening at the Vermilion Regional Center. The early bird draw for that one is November 1st, and it is sponsored by Northsport and Websport. Do you have a story that needs to be told? Or maybe you know someone that needs help telling theirs? Well, the Intro to Memoir Writing is happening in Wainwright Tuesdays, October 15th to November 5th. Make sure you sharpen those writing skills. It's $75 per person. And to register, you just check out hello@wainwrightlearning.ca. You email hello@wainwrightlearning.ca. Now for some more fun stuff. Concert season is upon us. On October 19th, you can be rocking with Honeymoon Suite Prism and Lee Aaron in Sedgwick. It's going to be a good time. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster or the Co-op Food Store in Sedgwick or the Co-op Food Store in Killam. And last but not least, the Spaghetti Supper put on by Catholic Social Services here in Wainwright is going down November 2nd over at Blessed Sacrament Church Hall, 906 6th Ave. Doors are at 5:30 for that, and the dinner is at 6 p.m. Tickets are sold at the door, $8 for adults, $5 for youth, 6 to 17. And then, of course, kids under that get in for free. I'm Justin with Boom 101.9 and 93.7 Wayne FM, and that's what's happening.
I'm here with Becca from the SPCA, and today she has brought in Pepsi, this adorable black cat with gorgeous green eyes, and she is the longest resident at the SPCA.
Yeah, she's our longest right now, sitting at 99 days. Actually, our one before her, I think, was a few more days, and she just got adopted the other day. So it's a good time. And then now it's our fall feline frenzy, so we're really hoping to find her a home now too.
And speaking of the fall feline frenzy, how has that been going so far?
Really good. Yeah, yesterday we did 11 adoptions, so we're really happy with that. We initially around 4 o'clock we had only done 4, so I'm like, well, everyone probably thinks it's about a week long, so they're taking their time. But yeah, it seemed like after work was done yesterday, it was a bit of a rush for cats, so that was great. And then yeah, so it's just day 2 now. We start here at noon, and then hopefully get some more kitties out.
Yeah. And with Pepsi, what is kind of her personality traits, or what should people know before choosing to adopt her?
Yeah, she's a nice cat. We just really think that she would probably be happiest in like a shop or a barn though. She as you can see, she's pretty nice. She's quite curious of everything. She's not too stressed out being here. But yeah, as she's at the shelter, if sometimes we'll go in and clean her kennel and there's a mouse in there, so she does her job at the shelter as well too. But yeah, and then otherwise she can be a bit of a rough player kind of thing, so that's another reason too. I wouldn't put it past her being a good house cat as well, but yeah, she just seems like she would be happy being a working kitty.
Well, she was super calm when I was holding her, so that also helps a lot. Any medical issues that you've noticed since having her?
Nope, she's been clean as a whistle, this one. She came in initially and she was very pregnant, and then I think it was the next day we came in and she had little kittens in her kennel. So she was in foster for a couple months, and then she came back. And I think some of it has to do with obviously the coloring as well. Sometimes black cats are little bit the last to go. Yeah. But she does, she's being really calm and good for TV right now, but she does have a little bit of an attitude. So it might have something a little bit to do with her staying a little bit longer, but it's a nice attitude when you get to know her.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I haven't seen any problems so far.
That's right.
So, and you mentioned a little quickly off camera about an adoption event coming up.
Yeah, so hopefully, not hopefully, if we have none, that's great too. But, if next weekend we, after Thanksgiving weekend, we have a adoption event at Pet Value. So we will try and run it from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and with as many kitties that we do have available for adoption. And then any dogs as well too. If we have any dogs, we'll definitely try and bring some dogs. But yeah, and then just we're in the early stages, but we're starting to plan for that jail and bail coming up again this year too. So I'm quite excited for that.
And what are your numbers so far with kittens, cats, and even dogs?
Yeah, so I think we're kind of getting down to about 30 to 35 cats left in the shelter. So we still have quite a lot that we're hoping by the end of the week to find homes for. But yeah, so we're still high up there in numbers, but we're not doing too bad with hopefully the adoptions stay steady like this.
And numbers with dogs, have you seen an increase, a decrease, or?
We've seen a little bit of an increase, and just with it getting a little bit colder. We're not full by any means though. Where are you going? And so we're not doing too bad, but we have seen a little bit of an increase of dogs just with the colder weather.
And really quickly before we wrap up, just to reiterate the Fall Feline Frenzy, just when it runs to, and what the information people need to know.
Yeah, so with just at the shelter, we start our adoptions at 12 and then until we're closed. So all week we'll be doing it until 5:30 and then Saturday till 5. But all of our adoption locations, right now we don't have anybody at Pet Value. They got adopted yesterday, but I'll try and restock them. And then same with PetSmart, they're both open until 9 o'clock all week too. So, and it'll be the same prices for them until they close.
All right, well, perfect. Thank you for bringing in Pepsi and coming in.
Yes, thank you.